Oh, that's,
Let's all stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to everybody. We appreciate you being here, the folks that are in person, and if there's anyone online. Thank you for doing the pledge. To begin, let's start with minutes. May I please have a motion that the minutes for February 9th and 26th meeting be approved?
I'll second.
All in favor? Or actually, no, I did this last time. Discussion. I'm not gonna screw that up this time. Any discussion? No. All in favor? All right. Any opposed? None. Public comment on agenda items only, 3 minutes per speaker. So, Marilyn, please.
Marilyn Stevenson, 45 West High Street. I wanted to speak about motion 7E and also possibly motion 11. And my first comment would be regarding 7E, are there any proposed changes to subsection 2721, paragraphs B, C, D, and E? I ask that because in terms of the attachment that I found for this particular topic tonight, I noted that the paragraphs were not discussed or not listed as part of the edits, and that there was a renumbering of some of the topics in that subsection. So I wondered, again, if somebody could address whether or not there are any changes to those paragraphs, which are part of this subsection 27-21. And relative to the old business, are there future edits being planned for the parts of the code that are not on the agenda for tonight? My second comment would be regarding membership, paragraph 7. The proposed edit says solicitation for prospective members, my words, includes at minimum placing the vacancy on the village board of trustees agenda for at least 1 meeting. I'd like to recommend that you do that for 2 meetings to get the word out, and that you consider producing a formal poster or a vacancy announcement and include it in the meeting minutes to basically get the word out, encourage people to apply for the numerous vacancies on the ethics board. My final comment is regarding paragraph 7 of this subsection 27-21. In light of the significant delay that the village has failed to act in resurrecting the ethics board, I'm recommending that the village attorney conduct the initial review and recommendation of all prospective applicants for the future ethics board, instead of allowing this power to be given to the mayor and 1 trustee. And if it turns out that the village attorney is not the appropriate person to do that because it would be a conflict of interest, I'm recommending that the trustees consider having a separate short-term appointment of village residents who meet the intent of the code to at least review and make recommendations to the board of trustees for prospective applicants. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in person? Anyone online?
Nope.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a consent agenda. Is there any, I'm gonna do this before I go. Is there anything that needs to be taken off of that? All right. May I please have a motion for the following to approve this consent agenda. Alright, for funding, for the Ballston Spa Water Department, be authorized to purchase CL2 PM service, EBO UA Superior Water and annual maintenance in the amount of $6,865.77 from Coaster. The Ballston Spa Water Department be authorized to replace the garage door opener, side mount, photo eyes, and one new from their service door at 2 Lowell Street by Overhead Door Company of Glens Falls in the amount of $2,514.29, and that the Ballston Spa Water Department be authorized to pay Smith Controls for field tech labor and mileage to troubleshoot T-Mobile FX 4100 units on multiple days to keep water towers communicating. Multiple lists were necessary spanning December 22nd, 2025 to February 11th of this year, totaling $7,315. This was done on an emergency basis over a number of weeks due to several recurring T-Mobile issues. May I please have a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Oh, sorry, I mean, no discussion on this, right? Alright.
You got this.
I do, I'm throwing all
You're better without me sitting there.
No, I don't know what's going on tonight. All in favor? Any opposed? No. Alright, regular motions. May I please have a motion that Ashley Bush's resignation as a member from the Committee on Arts be accepted effective immediately?
I'll second.
Any public comment or any comment? The only thing I will say is thank you to Ashley for giving her time. She's a wonderful person, and I know she's, family and human life, so we thank the time that she did give to the village. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? All right, may I please have a motion that Kathy Hacker and Christopher Hannon be appointed as interim co-chairs of the Committee on the Arts be accepted until such time the board selects and appoints a permanent chair for the remainder of the calendar year 2026.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just to say that we're looking forward to them stepping up for now, and there is still a vacancy on that board, so if anyone has some time, we're looking for someone particularly organized that would like to step in and help out, because it's a great group. Yeah, we're looking forward to all the events there.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. May I have a motion, please, to approve the attached agreement with Pitney Bowes for postal services and related equipment in the village office to replace the current machine that is no longer working. It will decrease the cost for quarterly lease payments on the machine from $216.32 down to $151.77 for the scale, shipping, $360, web browser migration, and service subscriptions, and approving the mayor to execute the agreement. Any discussion? And just note this also is saving us some postage costs to get
Yes, because currently we've been having to pay
full price
full price for postage since the machine's not working.
Alright, so this will help on the postage costs as well. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Alright, thank you. May I please have a motion that the Ballston Spa Events Task Force be allowed to hold the Winter Sledding Festival on Saturday, March 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and permitting the street closures listed on the attached event form. That was online, right?
You can
Okay.
post it, yep, today.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Looking forward to who's going to go down the hill. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All of us are chicken apparently. May I please have a motion setting a public hearing for proposed law number 1 of 2026, a local law amending sections 27 through 21, section 21, section 27-21 of chapter 27, Code of Ethics of the Code of the Village of Ballston Spa for March 9th, 2026 at 7:01 p.m. No, frankly, as a note here, numbering has changed as is now intended to be the first approval of law for the village of 2026.
And would you like me to?
Yes, please.
So as the board is aware, we have 5 vacancies currently on the Board of Ethics. We have one position that is currently a vacancy because it's a whole year and 4 resignations. So it was kind of necessary to almost reconstitute as if we were just forming the membership. The current Board of Ethics in 27-21 does not allow for that because you have to have staggered terms and things for quorum. So what you have before you ultimately just says that there's going to be 5 members appointed in 2026. And to make it so it's not vague and everybody understands exactly what they're going to be appointed to, because that was also a concern, it lists out how it will be appointed. And the way it is stacked for members of the public, not stacked, staggered for members of the public, it's 1 member is appointed this year to serve the remainder of this year. 1 member is appointed to serve until, no, I'm sorry. Yes, 1 member is appointed to serve, I was reading from top to bottom, not down to top. 1 member to serve this year, 2 members to serve through 2027, and then 1 member to serve through 2028, and 1 member to serve through 2029. And after that, once those terms are up, they're 4-year terms, and that allows for the staggering. With respect to a couple of the other changes, it was a lot of it was grammatical. There were some grammatical issues and consistency issues. The renumbering that was brought up is renumbered because we added a paragraph. So obviously we have to renumber the other paragraphs. To Marilyn's question, it is only subsection A that is being put. It's not anything else. So that's the renumbering all just give that. The other thing that we do have in there is 2 full-year terms, 2 consecutive full-year terms is what the amount would be. If a vacancy expires otherwise than by the expiration of the term, the mayor appoints with the approval of the 4 members, the supermajority, because it's a supermajority to appoint anybody. That was not in the prior one. I think it was intended to be. It just clarifies that more. The other thing that we put in there, that paragraph renumbered 7 that Marilyn actually spoke about, that's what's in there currently now. That it'll, the solicitation at the minimum. With respect to where we are now, the Board of Ethics ultimately conducts the initial interview, and when you don't have a Board of Ethics, you can't conduct an interview. So to make it easier, if there's 3 or more vacancies at any time, the hope is that we don't have to do this each time. The mayor and 1 trustee, because you can't have more, conducts the initial review and then recommends, and the board ultimately, of course, has the supermajority. Yeah, and that's everything else has stayed the same. So the idea is that this can be amended if the board is okay with the way it's written in now. You can set your public hearing. The time frame would be the public hearing would be at the next meeting. If the board adopts it at the next meeting after the public hearing, then it can literally be driven down to Albany, and I would almost recommend that because the Department of State takes some time to get these things going, and it's not effective until it's actually filed. So if it can be filed, after that first meeting in March, then technically it may be possible that the second meeting, or at least the first meeting in April, the board can be constituted again, going through the process in here. So that's really what's happening here. It was to deal with the inartfully drafted language and to deal with the area that we're at now, where you wouldn't think you'd have no members of the Board of Ethics. So that's kind of where we are. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any discussion? May I have a?
You don't need a roll call.
Okay.
You have your motion.
Yeah, sorry. I was about to accidentally do that. I caught myself.
I know.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? None. And do I have to read the whole resolution?
That's it.
No, for the public USDA stuff.
Oh, no, you want me to talk about that too?
Yes, would you
Sure. It would be, so the village is obtaining, is in the process of closing on a loan that they've already gone through. They required bond authorization and all of that, this has been going on for quite some time. We're at the time of closing, and at the time of getting the vehicles. So, resolutions F and G are required resolutions from USDA, on USDA forms. They basically say, you've done everything already to date. And everybody's okay with it, and you've all already done, you've gone bond authorizations. One of them, I think it's it might be the pumper truck, that there's a grant involved in there as well, for $136,000, I believe it is. And this just sets forth everything in there. It is a form that's needed to be signed for the federal government to actually go forward with closing. And they're the same exact forms, because they're two separate closings, you need to have them the same. The board has already authorized the bond, has already authorized the purchase agreement, has already authorized everything. This is just final paperwork closing. So what you would do is you would do a motion to adopt a resolution for 900, the resolution, and I think there's a number on it at the top. Does it say RD something or other?
Yeah.
A motion to approve RD 1942-47 with respect to the $942,000 USDA pumper truck loan.
May I have that motion?
So moved.
Yeah,
Second.
didn't know if I could get away with just that.
Yeah. You're actually one of the only boards that doesn't do that. believe it or not.
Any discussion on this? Do you have to do roll call for this? Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. That is passed. Also, for the other one, may I please have, I'll try. Alright. May I please have a motion approving the resolution related to the $1,100,000 USDA DPW equipment loan for the purposes of the closing the loan and receiving the $136,000 community facilities grant, which I forgot to mention the form number.
Same form number as the prior
Yeah,
resolution.
That. Sorry, that's long.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
I'll give it a call. That was great, that's gonna give it a call. Alright, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Alright, and now may I please have a motion approving the placement of up to 25 poetry signs throughout the village by the Committee on the Arts along Front Street sidewalk areas, Milton Avenue sidewalk areas, and no more than 5 per park kept in Wiswell Valley and Iron Spring during the month of April 2026. No, just April. It's a poetry month.
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion? You're gonna go out there and enjoy the poetry. Read it to your wife. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you to the Arts Committee for working on that. I think people look forward to that. All right. Mayor's announcement. I'm not reading the whole thing. But I'm just gonna talk about a couple things that are important here. I'll actually read those sections. This is from Frank. We are continuing our discussion with the cellular carriers related to new leases related to the cellular tower being installed next to the John Street water tower. One of the leases is with T-Mobile, who you saw earlier in the agenda, has potential outstanding village claim due to faulty equipment that delayed our ability to get to the John Street tower fully into the correct position technically for our water department to monitor its status. That has since been rectified, but part of the discussion with T-Mobile will include this issue and how it affects the relationship between the village and that carrier. With the final dump truck being delivered, hopefully the next 2 weeks from our USDA DPW equipment package, we are ready to close both USDA loans totaling just over $2 million. In addition, the village will be receiving about $136,000 in a community facilities grant from USDA related to the DPW equipment purchase. The loans have interest rates of 2.5% and 3.5%, which means we locked in rates well below current USDA and bank rates. First payments will be factored into the fiscal year 2027 budget. We're also working to address concerns of wheelchairs and scooters being driven along Church Avenue from Doubleday Woods across the village line to Stewart's and McDonald's. Chief Bush and I are working to determine if we need to post notices on properties in which their owners are not cleaning sidewalks on a timely basis after storms are completed. On the other hand, I've asked Chief Bush to work with Doubleday Woods to reduce this activity as we work to ensure that sidewalks are clean. It's my understanding that one person was hit by a car outside of our jurisdiction recently, adding to the concern. I want to thank Chief Bush for helping us manage this concern. And he's back in town from Florida. He to use his break this month, but he did say that he is going to be making an address on Facebook about the village, and I just wanted to let people know that should be Thursday evening, and he'll post more information about that in the future. That's from Frank. Oh, yeah, that's okay. I don't know what to do about that. So, all right, treasurer's report. All right, budget requests for the fiscal year 2027 have been sent out. If you are a committee or department chair or department and have not received a request, please contact the treasurer's office. We need this information completed by February 27th for budget consideration. Department heads, please contact Jennifer in the village office to set up a time to go over your budget with the mayor and treasurer. Sales tax distributions. Total February sales with tax receipts were $15,221,540. The amount was $403,000 higher than the $14.8 million received in February of last year. Sales tax 25-year date, March to February, was up by just over $9.3 million, or 5.43%, from $172 million for the previous year to $172.4 million for this current year. The village of Ballston received $114,597 on February 20th, 2025. That's what it says. The village office is collecting a high volume of payments from residents for their utility bills while working diligently to get them posted to their accounts. Please be patient as we have been short-staffed. Village office news, our new part-time deputy treasurer, deputy clerk started with the village this past Tuesday. Lawrence is doing a great job so far, and we're happy to have Lawrence join our staff. And I got to meet Lawrence on, I believe it was Thursday, I popped in, and we're happy to have him and have the extra help. So thank you for joining the village. Just another thing to mention along the lines of it's to be more specific, water bills are due this week, and in order to avoid a late penalty, please make sure payment is in by March 3rd. All right, liaison reports, please.
You want to start? Sure. As mentioned in the agenda, sledding down Bath Street will take place on Saturday, March 7th, from 10 a.m. to 2. There's going to be 2 sections of sledding from West High Street to Front Street, and from the south side of Front Street down to Washington Street, which is going to be a funny hop. There will be hot dogs, hot chocolate, and hamburgers available, and Front Street will be open to pedestrian traffic only. The Easter egg hunt will be held at the Town of Milton Community Center on March 28th from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. And that will be featuring games, crafts, and balloon, and refreshments will also be available there. The library is working on Farmington Library, and it's soon going to be a reality here at this library. It's a program run by the Southern Adirondack Library System, partnering with local farms to distribute fresh produce to public libraries. And the initiative addresses food insecurities and improves access to healthy food to
all up and running. The Friends of the Library will be holding a gift basket fundraiser starting tomorrow, Tuesday, February 24th. The drawing will take place sometime in late April. Some of the basket themes featured will be scratch-off lottery tickets, gift cards to village restaurants, family fun packs, hampered pets, chocolate lover treats, gluten and guilt-free picnic. The baskets will be on display here at the library, and pop-up events will take place March 7th at Coffee Planet starting at 8 a.m. and March 28th at the Village Easter egg hunt at Milton Community Center. So you can check and see which baskets you're interested in. Cash and checks only will be accepted, and you can check the library website for more pop-up sites.
All right, Committee on the Arts. The next meeting is March 11th, 7 p.m. here at the library. And the Poetry Month will be kicking off in April. I'll be releasing a lot of fun details about that in coming meetings, but save the date for April 7th. There's a poetry reading and book signing here at the library at 6:30 by authors Rose LaPietra and Mackenzie Aiken. Park and Tree will be meeting tomorrow, February 24th at 7 p.m. at the Cornell Cooperative Conference Room. And the Historic District Commission will be meeting March 19th at 7 p.m. at 90 East High Street.
DPW, the water main break at East High Street has been repaired. It was not a main, but a broken valve. They've been working on plowing and snow removal. When they don't plow, they remove the snow that they just plowed. 2 trucks and the sidewalk snow blower are down and they're all in the garage for repairs. We've been notified by the county that salt deliveries at the Port of Albany have been allocated to the state, and at their direction, we've begun using a hot mix of salt and sand on roads, not just straight salt. For a while. I think Frank put that in his announcements for all of us.
Thank you all. Just some stuff, BSBPA, they have the breakfast and serve on March 3rd, 8 to 9:30, I believe, at the museum, at the Ballston Museum, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, oh no, not right.
Caught me off guard.
Which is, always a great time to get to know some of the local business owners, professionals in the area, and also to learn about nonprofit.
All new exhibits, fresh one.
That's great. The annual meeting for the BSBPA will be March 23rd at Next Door Kitchen. We cannot go because we have a meeting, but we wish it goes well right now. I really want that hazelnut cake. But we wish everyone well and hope that goes well. They are also currently in the process of looking for farmers market vendors, so that could be the actual farms to like big goods people or costume makers. So if there's anybody interested, they should check out ballston.org. I'm going to keep it short because the other one would be part of whole business, so I'm going to say that. So, all right, whole business. And as Frank has noted, this is you.
I learned that today.
Review
so
upcoming proposed law changes and such.
There are a lot of proposed changes to the laws, and a lot of it are just cleanup to get us into compliance or to work with the state, the January 1 laws that come with the state. So I'll start with the one that everybody wants to know about, which is zoning. The planning board and the zoning board did their reviews and submitted their comments. You all received them. So that portion of the timeline is done. You've got the written advisory opinion, a recommendation from the planning board, which you saw, it's spoilable, so that's fine. And what it is, they say that there's a lot of work that needs to be done still. The main concerns were that the historic district portion appeared to be a cut and paste, that there was nothing about PDDs in there, and a few other issues. Chris Kushel has reviewed them, and he got back to me actually this afternoon and said that there are some things that should be easy to change. One of the things that, that we have 2 new board members who weren't involved in the nitty-gritty parts of this. So one of the things that the next step would really be for you folks to kind of say, okay, are we done? Are we not done? What do we do? And if you say, you know what, we're done, thanks very much, guys, we don't really care what you say, I can't imagine you would do that. You would, at that point, we go through seeker, and then we send it to county planning. We wait for county planning to get it back to us, we get it back from county planning, assuming that they're good to go, then it goes to a public hearing. The public talks about it, and then the public decide, and then you listen to the public, and then it comes back to you, and you go, well, the public had some good ideas, or no, I like the way it is now. You make some changes. If they're substantive, you start the process all over again. If they're not substantive, then you move forward and you can adopt it. Given the comments from the planning board and the zoning board, considering the fact that they're the ones that are actually going to implement this law, it might make sense, and to allow the two of you to actually, not to put you on the spot, but to allow the two of you to look through the 100 pages. I'm sure you really want to do that. You probably, sorry. So, one of the thoughts, and to allow the public a little bit more, one of the thoughts is to kind of go like this. I'm just going to present it to you folks, and you let me know how you want to do it. Open it back up to the public. Take the current draft and say, hey, public, this is where we are right now, the draft of the planning board and the zoning board review. Why don't you give us some comments? Give us some more comments on it. Gives them another opportunity to actually comment on it. Not required under the law, not required under your code, but it allows them to have the opportunity, and it will help inform your decisions as well. So you could, about 3 weeks, give the public about 3 weeks to present their comments the same way they presented them earlier. Poor Jen will get a whole bunch of emails, and she'll have to deal with all of that. But and given how large this document is and how long it took the board to get it to this point, one thought is to divide with the new comments from the planning board, the zoning board, and comments from the public. Divide it up, like Paul, you would get sections 1 through 6, and you would get sections 7 through 11. And each board member gets an allocated section that they focus on and look at the comments, and that way it's not a scary, I have to look at all the comments for everything at once. You kind of have a discrete area, and then come to a workshop, actually schedule a workshop and share them together at that, where the public is available to come and do that. It might be a little less daunting to do it that way. I've seen it done that way in other municipalities. I've also seen it done every single section as a different workshop. I don't recommend that. And then really, at the end of that, then if it is significantly changed, submit it back to the planning board and the zoning board and say, hey, we took this is what everybody is saying. These are the changes. This is why we didn't do some changes. Here you go, take a fresh look at it. That'll allow the new planning board members too the opportunity to review it and give their input. And then come back here and we would be where we are today, but with a lot more input. It does kick us out a few months of our timeline, but it makes sense to have all the new faces and fresh ideas involved and gives the public a little more time and more input into the code. That's a thought, and I present it to you now because this is the meeting we're supposed to accept the comments of the planning board. So I'm just throwing it out there for discussion.
Could you remind me when the last one was done again? Was it 26 or?
Select the code.
Yeah.
Oh. I might have,
I know we were talking about it.
30 plus years.
yeah, I was gonna say, I might have been like in grade school.
So to put that in perspective, I've seen like sitting in the audience, before I was put into this role, elected. And just seeing there seemed to be like this push to get this through. I think given that, hopefully we don't have to do this again for many years, I think it needs to be done right. And with that, I think I would probably take your last option in this case. So we have time to really look over everything, consider all the different stakeholders, what they think, and then make sure that whatever we're putting out there is done correctly and it's gonna be good. And not just something we're throwing together pretty quickly. Not that that has been done, I'm just saying. rather than rush, I'd rather take our time.
Where does that put us? Like, what month would this end up in?
So our current timeline, hang on, too many tabs open. All right, our current timeline has it being adopted. I actually gave, multiple months to go through this. So our current timeline, which we're off by a month already, had everything done in February. So now we're probably, I would say May. Like the goal would be to have it done before the summer, I guess. If that's, like, but to your point, Cheryl needs to get it right. And just, I think it will help the public too. So what I can do is I will, kind of put this together so that the public knows the timeline of what's happening and what's going on right now. And when it goes out to the public, and go ahead, we'll get everything going so the public knows what's going on. So, and I'll submit a new timeline so they have that as well. It's all about letting everybody know what's going on. Good.
Sounds good.
All right, that's zoning. You know, I missed everything. I have to come to do all this. Are there any other, I mean, the historic district, there is a model code out there that the historic district is trying to kind of wrap its head around and wants to come and present to the village board at some point what it means, answer some FAQs, give a presentation, have some graphs, all stuff like that to understand how it works with respect to tax credits and the like. So that's actually, to go back to zoning for a second, as you may be aware, that's why it is a cut and paste from current to proposed, because we wanted to give the public and the historic commission and this board and all the boards the opportunity to focus on that as one law. Same thing with the PDD, that has been controversial. That started when I started here in 22, that was one of the laws that was going back and forth. So that's, again, separate. The fence law is just a cleanup of the, right now your fence law says that you can't put a fence closer than 6 inches to the property line, which gives a foot of like no man's land, which is hard. So now that's just gonna put it on the property line. And Dave is in agreement with that.
What's the timeline for that one? That's probably pretty.
That's like, I can probably get that, I think I have it done, so that would be 2, local law 2. The property tax exemptions, that's just something that we have to, you know, the town does our assessments, the village's assessments. The exemptions have to be passed by local law.
Oh, sure.
So we're just drafting up our local laws to have them identical to the various towns, so that everybody gets the exemptions they're supposed to have. That's just another cleanup. The parking code is already done, and we finally have enough information to put together schedules. My goal was to have that for this meeting, but as you'll learn in executive session, we had a couple other things that came up. So that's something that we should be able to get done for the next meeting as well. And then ethics, I don't know what that else that is. That's just if there's something new on that. I think that's all my laws. Any questions? The goal is to have all of those done in the next 6 months.
It sounds always like way more daunting than the, oh no, this is only.
But it's still the same process for each
Yeah,
law.
yeah. In my brain, I'm tapping way more time. All right, I'm trying to find mine. No.
The language services one?
Yes. Oh, no, I
Yeah,
have
that's
one.
next.
That's next. All right, that one. Basically, so one of the things that both former trustee Baskin and myself really are pretty passionate about is to make sure there's translation services for the village, and Mary too, because you brought up like, let's have an option that people can have, like Google Translate the village website. Got in touch with the Department of State. One of the things we were waiting on was, if you only get a couple bids, they have to go back out to different vendors and ask why they didn't, put in a bid for it. And, we've been cleared to go ahead. We have 2 options. What I will do is send it to you guys so you can review, and come by next meeting. Carla's trying to determine if there's a specific resolution that the Department of State requires us to pass, or if we can go ahead and just do it as a motion. But I'd like to get that done by next meeting if we can, so, alright, we can get that done.
Yeah, I'm writing my list of next meeting.
Okay. But yeah, we're thankful to Daniel, I believe it is, at the Department of State, who was able to get me some information, that we would like to move forward with that. I would, want to speak for you guys, but I know that would be very helpful. That's my little bit about the language services. What I was trying to find my printout, here it is. For the Revitalize Bee Spa, the BOA, the Brownfield Opportunity Area Study. I kind of misspoke a little bit at the last meeting because I'm so used to saying it has to go through like a secret process and everything. We don't have to technically follow that, so Carla's reaching out to Norval to get more information. Oh, she did?
Yeah. This week, probably tomorrow.
Oh, okay, great. The goal is to, ideally for a village to get it, passed latest by, March 27th. So we have a little time. We could put this out to the public. It's already out on both the village website and revitalizebeespa.com, for people's comments. But I know you guys all got a hard copy of it. Norabelle did ask that we get our comments as a board, by the end of the month. And I realize it's the end of the month already, but, maybe I can try to ask if next week is okay, unless you guys, and if you're good to go, just send it to me. But the goal is to pass it, by that March date, so that if we as a village want to proceed, that's the grant cycle for New York State. It starts, she guesses that we can, not guesses, she thinks that we'll be able to get a designation package, by April 1st, not April 1st, June 1st. And that would get us ready for the grant cycle, say if we wanted to do New York Forward again. And the nice thing about doing this process, and I just want to give kudos to Larry Woolbright, who really passionately pursued this for the village. It really gives a leg up to the village for New York State grants. It's like another checkbox. It's like, oh, you guys have this done, great. And also speaks to what the community has been talking about for all these, many years at this point, between the economic development study and all that. Just to reaffirm this is, the sort of types of projects we're looking at or what this village wants. So anyway, that's what I have. Carla and Norabelle are going to talk about more specifics as far as process. But that's all I've got for that. So, any other questions? All right. Is there any new business? No? All right, public comment number 2 on any issue. Ellie?
Ellie Gillen, 116 North Avenue, Ballston Spa. I witnessed a situation in Massachusetts this past fall that still haunts me. 3 large black vehicles, masked, armed, camouflaged men, and 4 local police cars surrounding one diminutive man. This young man was handcuffed to a fence. Local police were actively participating. ICE and local law enforcement agreements have increased significantly in the first year of Trump's second presidency. This administration is urging local law enforcement agencies to support ICE's ruthless rounding up of both migrants and citizens. They are deputizing local police to make arrests based on suspicion that someone is in the country illegally. They are armed, masked, with no judicial warrants and no identification. And make no mistake, people of color are now indiscriminately being detained also. Quotas need to be filled for these new detention centers cropping up all over the country. We have already seen daily reports in the news of abuse, punitive action, and even murder tied to this practice. I respectfully ask the trustees and deputy mayor to revisit and pass the resolution regarding immigrant and community safety, which will safeguard our local law enforcement from being compelled to carry out illegal and harmful policies by ICE. And in doing so, will protect all of our residents and visitors. At no point was the resolution intended as a criticism of our local police force. In fact, its purpose is to affirm and protect the compassionate and professional actions our officers take every day. So this is a new board. This is a new year. Please revisit this resolution for our village. Thank you. I have it here for your nightly reading later.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Karen?
Carolyn Stevenson, 45 West High Street. I do appreciate Carla's thoughtful advice to the board relative to the proposed changes for zoning. Just because I couldn't hear, I really wanted to know whether or not the memo that you've been provided advising you about changes to the zoning code, if that is public information or if I didn't hear correctly, if it needed to be foiled for the public to see that. What I find ironic is that two land use boards somehow came up with these recommendations over the last several months without benefit of the public being able to sit in on a regularly scheduled planning board meeting and zoning board of appeals meeting. I don't recall that any of them have been on the calendar showing the full public discussion of legally appointed members discussing proposed changes to the code. I thought at the beginning of this process that both of those land use boards would have a regularly scheduled meeting at which they would share their likes or dislikes about the proposed language of the code, and at least have the opportunity for the public to sit in the same room and actually hear the discussion. But I think that's not the case. Possibly I've missed something here. But I don't recall any meeting where that was a topic for an agenda. So I can only assume that all of that was done separately without the opportunity for the public to sit in on that informed discussion. I would say that, considering this proposed timeline that we're going to move this forward to sometime in May, I think that's a very well-informed decision. I think that will give everybody in the community an opportunity to take a look at the recommendations, so I'd encourage you to possibly put the brakes on and follow Carla's advice on that. I think it's generous to give the public another opportunity to take a look at the proposed changes or the things that need to be tweaked. And also remember that there were a majority of members of the zoning advisory committee that were still actively meeting last year. and they would be happy to share any information with you relative to things like the PDD, the model ordinance, et cetera, because they've already developed some of that guidance. Thank you. I apologize if everyone.
No, it's okay, I should have given you better warning. Alright, anyone else, anyone online?
Nope.
Alright, thank you, we continue on. Alright, so, other business, but not including board response. Public comment, development, thoughts. Certainly welcome anybody as a resident of this village to provide comments, you know, so if people from the ZAC wish to send in their comments, they're welcome to. Alright, we need an executive session, so it's related to pending proposed litigation. So may I please have a motion to go into executive session? All in favor? Any opposed? No. Alright. Do I have to do anything else for that?
No, you just say there's gonna be likely no action taken after.
Likely no action, so, thank you, guys. How do we get to go home? Wow.
7:52.
Oh, look at that, oh, I'm proud.
You're doing good.
There you go.
You just say that, do that.
Hello, everyone, we are back. No action is being taken. It's 8:57 p.m. We have one more motion.
No action taken in executive session,
Oh, I said no action taken. Sorry.
Just
in
in executive session.
Noted. All right. So with that, may I please have a motion that the vouchers be audited and that the meeting adjourn at 8:58.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Can you stop it?
Yep.